Hello everyone! Well, today is a bit different because today we are at the Concours of South Africa. As you can see, it's quite the event. Let's get started. Okay guys, I had to come here because these are two legends right here. We have the BMW M1, which is the very first M car, well, the first inception of an M car, because a lot of people think it's the BMW M3 of the 1980s, but a lot of the time it's this, the BMW M1, which is their very first and possibly their very last supercar, because we all know how the i8 played out. We thought it was going to be the next supercar that they interpreted, but it failed miserably because it didn't meet expectations by the public and by enthusiasts. But it's really cool. Oh my god, yo, this is my first time in my life seeing a BMW M1. It is so insane. You have two badges on the left and the right, and that is, well, even everyone is just staring at it going like, wow, it's incredible. Personally, I think I'll change the wheels. It's not my type of car. Well, it is my type of car, but not my type of wheel design. And then I had to come here, the 530 MLE. This is honestly the very first M5 ever made. No matter what you say, it is incredible. And it's funny enough that these cars were actually built in South Africa at the time, in the late 1980s. So these cars gave run of like Ferraris, Lamborghinis of the time, and it's really cool to see. You even have the BMW M stripe going there. You got these massive tires, massive tires, and it's really cool. It's so nice. It's so crazy to think how M has come a long way, because you know, nowadays a lot of the time M just really puts badges on anything, but this is a legend right here. And of course, Mr. Seen Through Glass made a video on this about a year ago, so it's really cool to see. The 530 MLE, it's so cool. I would want to buy one. If I had millions, or if I won the Euro Millions, I would definitely buy one of these. And then if we come this side, we have a very old Mercedes-Benz from around 1936, which around 29 kilowatts, that's about 40 horsepower. But then again, power wasn't really the name of the game almost 100 years ago. So that's, that should just tell you how far the car has really come in the last century. Then we got a very old Citroen, probably from the wartime. It has to be from the wartime, because I do remember watching documentaries and remembering seeing this right here. So it's a 2C V6 Charleston with probably like 6 kilowatts. And then if you come here, I don't really know what car this is, but it's probably a very old car. And then obviously we have to get to the Ferrari, the inception of the 355, because this was really the beginning of the mid-engine Ferrari. A lot of people dictate it as the most beautiful mid-engine Ferrari that Ferrari has ever made, and the best sounding. So it's really cool to see. And it, well, personally, I don't think I would have this because it has had its fair issues of problems and mechanical gremlins over the years. But it's still a really cool car to see. You don't really see many of these because, well, it was inceptionalized in around the late 1990s. So it's really cool to see, to still see. Okay guys, and now moving to the next 355. We moved from down that side, and this is actually a 355 F1 Spider. F1 meaning because of the F1 gearbox. As you can see inside there, that has such a tiny little gear selector. It's actually really funny to see. This is the Spider variant of the exact car, more or less, that we had just seen. Other than some basic differences like the black venting at the back here, and obviously being the F1 with the automatic transmission, there's not much else to differ from that. So let's move down to this side where you can see Mercedes-Benz E55 AMG, and this is something special. Inside the heart of the car, the motor over here, is a shared derivative of the Mercedes-Benz SLR McLaren's 5.5 litre V8 supercharged, making around 480 horsepower and over 600 newton meters of torque. It is an absolute machine, a weapon, and comes from the times that Eugene and I dearly loved, when the big German sedans were true. You had the V10s from the M5, the V10 from the RS6, and obviously this beautifully made supercharged V8 made with Mercedes and McLaren in conjunction. You have these beautiful AMG wheels with these AMG brakes as well that just finish the car off so well, and this is absolutely something special. You don't see these too often, especially in this immaculate condition. And it is just insane to think about that this car is actually more powerful and possibly even quicker than the likes of this, a Ferrari F35 Spider, the second one we've seen, but this is not the F1. So this actually has the manual gearbox inside. And this car right here, this sedan,
from Germany, because we all know the Germans, their power is actually about 3 times what they claim versus Italian power. This will outrun this car in drag races, in roll races, even possibly on the track in the right hand, which is mental to think about. That this supercar from the 90s, which was one of the great supercars that were out at the time, one of the cars that everyone looked at, it was a poster car, can be outrun by one of these German sedans right here. And moving over to the side, just to speak about it, the Ferrari 328, and it's not everyone's cup of tea. The styling is a bit more classic, more retro, vintage style. It's not so pleasing to the eye as something as a 355, or heading further on down the line to like 458s and more modern supercars. But everyone has their cup of tea, and I think if it suits you, must be a beautiful car to have and a beautiful car to experience. Start with this beautiful M5. Something different to the regular M5 that you see. We're all used to the latest generation or previous generation of M5, and we all know that the latest R5s that are coming aren't actually that nice to look at. Unlike this, which is a beautiful sight to see. All original parts, low mileage, beautiful spec, very clean, very simple, very undertoned as well. As Eugene and I always say, we like these types of cars that go under the radar, but you don't realize this is an M5 with a heavily strong motor, rear-wheel drive, sick car to drive. So now moving next to it, we actually have another Rolls Royce, a Silver Shadow drop head coupe. I'm just going to be calling all of them. Don't try and correct me, I'm just doing it for fun. And not much to say about these. Big motor, obviously being Rolls Royce, finished to the T perfectly all the time. And this is actually more of my cup of tea, if I was to say it. Jaguar E-Type. This is probably where Jag really developed a name for themselves above from what they've had. There's the E-Type, XJ220, F-Type. Those are the 3 main cars you think about when you think about Jaguar. Now this is something special. This is a Porsche 930 Carrera, and this actually was tested here in the 1980s in South Africa for Car Magazine itself. And this is the actual car that was driven on Car Magazine and tested here when this was actually released. So this is something really special. Other than being a 930, which you don't often see or don't often hear about, even the standard Carrera, the 930 Turbo always takes the role of being the 930. Nobody really understands, or they really underestimate what this is all about. And this is truly something special, not just because of the backstory, being with Car Magazine, being from our home country here in South Africa, but it's just a beautiful design. It's a resemblance that you see throughout the 911s. And actually, I'd like to say happy birthday to 911. For 60 years now, they just celebrated that with Tag Heuer, and that's why you see these beautiful 911s here. And we move to the 911 Turbo 993 generation. You do not see these anyways. Beautiful red color, just like the 930 in the background here, and just everything about it is really sleek. And as I said to Eugene earlier on, this really reminds me of a 959 actually. The design is really similar, the motor is really similar in a sense, and the impact that it had on the racing world of Porsche is really similar. These things were here to just absolutely demolish the Italian supercars. The 930 Turbo as well as the 993 Turbo were all known as quite widowmakers in a sense, because they were absolute machines to drive and a handful to drive as well. But they are absolute beasts, and actually beautiful to see something like this. You don't really see them so much, and it's nice to compare the sizing of the 993 and the 930 to the modern day 991s and 992s.
So this right here is a Fiat 500, which is the best Italian car that we have right here at the Concours South Africa. Actually, I'm lying. The best one is right there. The Murcielago just sitting majestically with the beautiful scissor doors, as they all say. And well, actually I wanted to speak about this right now, which is the Opel Cadets, which a lot of South Africans go crazy over, and these go for crazy amounts of money. I'm pretty sure this is like $500,000 these days, or even $1 million for very clean ones, because at the time they race in like it's almost like JTC or GT championship racing, but like with these ones, a lot of the time it was like converting a regular road car into like a sports GT car. So it's really cool to see. And I have to come over to the Murcielago because this is the 2000s icon right here. Although it has the E-gear transmission, it is still the heavenly based Lamborghini that almost everyone and their mothers probably glanced over in the early 2000s, which is really cool. Now if you come to the front right here, you can actually see that there's a Diablo SB right next to it, so you can really see how the evolution changed from a somewhat supercar, although it is a supercar, to an actual outright supercar. And personally, I think because Lamborghini is just that brand, I think I'll pick this for today. But personally, a lot of the time I think of this as like the last true Lamborghini, because when this was inceptionalized, Audi took over, so a lot of the parts that you'll see will actually be from like an Audi or a Porsche, which is still really cool. And I'm just looking at this like, wow, this is insane. And as Alcantara in 1999, that's pretty incredible. So they actually went through a couple variants of this. So there was the original Diablo, there was probably an S, I think, and then obviously the SV. Then we have come here to the 5.7 liter naturally aspirated V12, which is so insane to look at. And of course, being Lamborghini, they have to show the firing order from 1 all the way to 11 or 12. So that's really cool. And well, I don't really know what else to say, except, you know, because Lamborghini is just that brand. I mean, just a minute ago or even 10 minutes ago, this place was just surrounded by people and surrounded by enthusiasts of every generation, because Lamborghini just does that. It grabs your attention, it grabs your eyes. And yeah, that's all really I can say. Then we come here to the 190E or 190 Evolution with the 2.3 liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder 16 valve. Now these cars have become so valuable. I think this one probably going for like R1 million plus, because, well, it was really at the time when DTM was at its best and it's at its core. So with cars like this, they become valuable. Enthusiasts are paying supreme amounts for them. I don't know if I would pay that for a regular 1980s Mercedes, although it is cool to look at. But when I look at this, I think of old Mercedes, and well, it's not really cool to look at because I don't think I've ever seen one in my life. So today is actually the very first time. And the funny thing is, it actually has the Nürburgring number plate holder just right there. So that tells you that this is actually a true performance car. Well, after I've been ranting on, I think personally my favorite pick would probably be the Murcielago. We've reached the end of this incredible Concours d'Elegance of South Africa. It is such an amazing event. I highly recommend that you come probably in the next year, because this year has really come to an end. Although there is one tomorrow, so if you're looking for it, just search Concours South Africa, and you just need to pay like 50 Rand just to get in, so that's really cool. And so I don't know which car is the favorite. I think personally I'm deciding between the 530 MLE and the Murcielago, because to me that is, wow, it so grabs my attention. I'm thinking about it to this day. And we have to look at the spectacular view at the Munyaka Waterfall Estate. It's so amazing. One day I'll dream to just like sit here and probably sip coffee and eat an amazing Italian pizza. So thanks again. We want to also thank you again for crossing 400 subscribers. We thank you so much. It has been an incredible journey. We've really come really far from the inception days of like sitting in the office room and just talking to the camera to actually being an event like this. So it's really cool. Thank you again. Thank you to the Concours South Africa for letting us come through and actually show you what goes on behind the scenes right here, because I don't think much had really done or has gone on behind the scenes on the Concours South Africa edition. So thanks again. I don't know how many times I'm gonna say thanks, but thank you so much. So thanks. Make sure to click the subscribe button, hit the like, make sure you share, and well, we'll see you next time. Bye bye.